So I was supposed to go to bed about an hour ago, but I had rented this movie from Redbox earlier, and I threw it in, and I was like, I'm just going to check out the first like 5-10 minutes, see if there's quality, see if it's worth my time, see if what I'm looking forward to watch tomorrow. I couldn't shut this movie off. And then when it was over, I couldn't help but want to come out here and just talk about it really quick before I finally went to bed. This was fucking fabulous. This movie is called Radius. I highly recommend going in completely blind, as I always say, but for real on this one. Not like I'm not being real on the other ones, but this one especially. So if you don't want to know absolutely anything, the only thing I'll tell you is that it is a science fiction thriller, and that's it. If you want to know something about it, I will tell you from here, but as I said, go in spoiler free if you can. If not, I will give you a brief, quick synopsis, but I'm not going to ruin anything either. My favorite kinds of stories ever, if you followed my page long enough, you'll know this by now, is when someone wakes up or gets to a town or whatever and there's no one around or everyone's dead and they can't figure out why. And that's one of these movies. And when I found out about this movie, just kind of reading the synopsis on IMDb after I saw it was in the Redbox, I was like, oh shit, it's one of those, I gotta get it. So I went and grabbed it. And I threw it in, and although it is one of those kinds of movies at first, the place that the plot goes for me worked so well. Because one thing that happens when you watch a ton of films all the time, like I do, is the originality of things just falls to the wayside. And you just kind of accept typical tropes and obvious plot lines that you've seen 100 times before, to the point where if you're a film fan like me and you just love consuming film, it doesn't really bother you. But when something is original and has a unique storyline, it's just like, it's like jarring, because it's like, holy shit, like I can't believe it. Something unique and original. And that's what happened here. Now, I do think that this film will have a lot of people who think that it's overly contrived and silly and whatever. But I will admit that I am a sucker for clever plot lines and ideas. I think that the acting in this movie is solid. I think that the way that it was done is solid. Is there a lot of style in this movie, like from a directorial standpoint, cinematography, anything like that? Not really. It's not like expertly made and it's like this well-crafted masterpiece on that side of the camera. But the writing to me and the acting from especially the two mains is excellent. The writing on this for me, worked wholeheartedly. I loved this fucking movie. Now, I do want to talk about spoilers here in a minute, for anyone who does view it or has seen it, but this is probably my favorite sci-fi movie I've seen this year. No shit. I adored this fucking movie. It really just kind of blew me away and made me sit there and go, wow, this is such a cool idea. And all the things that start getting revealed throughout the film were like, oh shit, oh wow, that's a new interesting spin. Oh fuck. Even though I had figured them out maybe a minute or two before they were revealed, it still was exciting figuring them out. It wasn't one of those things like Good Night Mommy or a few other films I've seen lately or throughout my life where I figure out the reveal too soon or early, and I'm annoyed because it's like, how did you guys make that so obvious? This isn't something that made it so obvious, but you catch on a little bit before they reveal it, I feel, at least I did, and it didn't hurt it at all. It was like, oh shit, I know what's going on here, and then they find out and you're like, yeah, motherfucker, holy shit, right? So it didn't take me out of it at all. But yeah, anyway, as you can tell, I liked it. I loved it. I want some more of it. whatever that song was. So definitely check it out. All right, I'm going to get into spoiler discussions here, but if you're a big fan of sci-fis with fairly original plot lines, it doesn't have like a big budget. It's not, some, I don't know. It's not some epic, huge thing. It's small scale, but the thought and creativity was so cool. Anyway, all right, let's talk about spoilers. When this movie started, as I said, I just thought it was a typical, everyone's dead, I can't figure out why. And then I started to realize, oh shit, this guy obviously has a radius around him that if people come within that radius, they die. And I was like, whoa, that's a really cool idea, fuck. And then this girl shows up. And when she shows up and she can get next to him, I was like, well, that's weird. And then it like dawned on me before they revealed it, a little bit. Probably that was the one that I figured out the quickest, was that when she was in his vicinity, no one would die within that radius. And if she left that radius, he would. And then they find that like black field. And I was like, that's the distance. Oh shit, okay, something happened here. And as it kind of went on and the relationship grew between these two people, and never went to this like silly love, shoehorned in kind of romance thing. It didn't. It was just two people in a terrible situation who grew a bond because they literally had to let people survive around them and to try to figure this out. And when the husband came in, the twin sister thing threw me. It kind of got me because I thought for sure it was just going to end up being her, and then she was going to be able to be with the guy because that wasn't her husband. And it was like, oh no. And this is where I think a lot of people are going to think it's too contrived by this point, is when they go and they find out he's the serial killer. And he was after her, and then like the hillbillies come or whatever to try to get them. And that all does seem convenient and a little over the top. The serial killer thing's a little over the top, and the hillbillies coming thing is a little convenient. But it worked for me completely, just because I thought it was these perfect little additions to be like, oh shit. It never went overboard. It never just was like, that's too much. Like, it always just kind of peaked right where it should have for me. And the emotion between these people, like the emotion of like him finding out that he's this serial killer. Like, imagine waking up from a coma. This is a terrifying thought. I mean, he's a piece of shit, so he kind of deserves it. He does fully deserve it. But did this guy, without his memory, it's hard to watch, because this dude's like, he wakes up and he thinks he's a good guy, and then he finds out he's a terrible person. And in that moment, he saves her life and takes his own to save everyone else's. So he's like the hero and the villain, and she was falling in love with this guy. And I really felt their connection. I felt like they had good chemistry going on, and I felt for them. I felt for her when she found out when she was holding the gun to the back of his head, and she was going to, kill him, and she couldn't do it, but she wanted him to go get his sister, and the emotion between that scene was tense, man. And talk about tension as well. That scene where they get separated and she's like running down the elevator, and that other scene where the cops are taking him out and they're like pulling him apart. And man, there's some great tension in this film, both from like a fearful place or a tension like, oh shit, and another tension of sadness and all these like negative emotions. This film had everything going on it for me. I truly loved it. Holy shit, man. This is gonna be in my top films of the year for me. It worked so well. I love thought-provoking, original ideas like this. I hope it's well received, but this is one of those kinds of films that I watch and it has its audience. It'll find its little cult following audience, but for the most part, people just seem to always throw these aside. Like, oh, that's just too much. It's stupid, this and that. It's like, this is stupid. This isn't stupid. Reminded me of like Circle or Exam or, films like that Cube, but Cube had a little bit more of a following. But these are like really cool, well-conceived, interesting, unique, original ideas made on a smaller budget and done so well. So anyway, I'm done raving about this. I really need to get to bed. Obviously, if you're watching at this point, you've seen it. I'm curious, man. I hope there's some other people out here that fucking adored this movie like I did. Let me know what you thought. And until next time, here's my famous wave.